Shadi Yazdan from PredictivEye. How you doing today, Shadi?
I'm good. Thank you. It's a nice sunny day here in Toronto. Things are good. Yeah.
Excellent. We were talking a little bit before in the green room before we started um, about, what you're doing with PredictivEye. But before we jump into that, because I'm dying to know how AI found you, why don't you just give us a little insight into, your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. Okay. So my journey started back in 2000. And it started with my father sitting me down and saying, you need to go to university, get a degree. I don't know what that degree is going to be, but you need to get one. And by the way, you're going to have to find a way to pay for it because I can't afford it. And I have a younger sister. She's quite brilliant. So she started school, skipped a couple of grades, and started school ahead of me. And she was working retail and getting paid next to nothing. So I thought to myself, how can I work the least amount of time and make the most amount of money? So that was the problem or the opportunity that I was looking to solve. So I actually started working with a few students within the university who needed help with research. And this was the age when Google wasn't around. So you couldn't go onto Google and search for things you needed. You actually had to go to a library, get a book, do your research. And a lot of people didn't know how to get started or how to do that. And a lot of people were getting in trouble for not citing where they found the research properly. And that was one area I was good at. So then I thought, you know what? I think I can actually charge people for this service. And I started with one, two, three. It blew up to the point where I couldn't keep up with all the people that were coming to me to ask for this service, this help. So I hired four others to help me run this, which was amazing because I wasn't working at all. I was just managing all these people that were working for me. And I ran it for 4 years. Not only did I pay for my university degree, I bought a new car, and I was the kid who always had cash in my pocket. My parents were worried at that time, thought I was dealing drugs. And I had to sit them down and say, no, this is legit. I'm running this business. I'm not dealing drugs. This is what I'm doing. But it was a great business. But I was always told, like my parents would tell me, this is not a real business. You do need to eventually get a real job. So after graduation, I had this opportunity to go overseas. And at that time, there was a tutoring company in the same area where my university was that was trying to put me out of business for all the 4 years that I was running this service. And I sold them the list of names and phone numbers of the clients that I had. They bought that from me, and I went off to Japan for a year. And I absolutely loved it, had a great time, came back. And so I decided, based on my parents' advice, that I had to get a real job. I got a job working for the government of Ontario, the province that I'm in. Started out actually as a teacher, and then moved into the Ministry of Education. I hated it. I hated every minute of it. It wasn't my passion. I used to push the boundaries all the time, ask questions. I was told, you ask way too many questions. This is not how we do things. But I didn't know what to do. So I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I knew that it wasn't the right place for me. So I started reading one book after another to try to figure out what is that dream career that is out there for me. And I very quickly learned that anything I wanted to do, I would have to build some form of a network of people that could guide me and help me to get to that next stage, whatever that was. So, long story short, I came across, after talking to a number of people, reaching out and asking for help, it was very slow. And I thought, how do I build that network quickly of people that were decision makers and could open doors for me? So I decided, the best way to do that, the fastest way would be to do a master's degree. So I decided to do a master's degree in business, to do my MBA, but I knew that Canada was not where I wanted to do an MBA because I wanted to set myself globally. And Canadian schools aren't really recognized around the globe. It's the American schools that everyone knows. And most of us that are outside of the US dream of going to school in the US. You look at it on TV, it just looks like everyone has fun and everyone's always helping each other, supporting one another. It becomes almost like a family. And I wanted to be part of that because that's not how the Canadian schools are structured. So I started doing some research to see what schools I should go to. And unfortunately, I found that majority of the MBA programs required you to, have a major, decide what you wanted to major in. Well, I was like, I can't do that because I don't know what I don't know and I don't know what I want to do. So how do I get as much as I can out of the MBA program without majoring, getting a general degree? And that's when I came across the executive MBA program. And I met all the criteria because at that time I had a very senior role within the government. And I applied to MIT actually as my first school of choice, which was my dream school, and soon realized I couldn't afford the tuition. I'm Canadian, having to pay that Canadian fee when you translate the American dollars into Canadian was absolutely ridiculous. There was no way I could afford it. My parents couldn't help me. And I'm on my own, so I didn't know how to do it. And my father, again, sat me down. Word of the man has a lot of words of wisdoms to share. So he sat me down and he said, listen, if our family could give up everything, I'm a child of refugee parents, to come to Canada for a better life, you can figure out how to get a degree, an executive MBA degree in the US, and you'll be able to pay for it. So just figure this out, solve this problem. So I did, and I came across a program through Northwestern University, Kellogg School of Business, which had a partnership with a school here in Canada. So you could actually pay Canadian fees, but get an American degree because portion of your program would be in Canada and portion would be in the US. And the best part of that was the program actually ended up being a very global program where I would do my electives in China, Tel Aviv, Germany, Miami based, Miami campus, and so forth. So it was great. I was like, this is fantastic. I can do this and I can afford it. So I did. I started the executive program. It was fantastic. I learned a great deal about every component of what it takes to run a business, from finances to marketing, to strategic planning, anything you can think of, which was exactly what I needed. And within the program, as I was going through the program, I had promised myself that by the time I graduate, I would have to have found that dream job, whatever it may have been. So while in the program, as a way of, also making some extra money because I had taken a leave from my job, I started another business because I'd done it before. I thought I could do it again. So I built an ed tech marketplace. And that business failed very quickly because I didn't have the right team in place. I just, people that I thought were friends, I thought, hey, we can build a business together. Learned very quickly that's not how you build a business. You don't build a business with just friends you have fun with because you're not going to go anywhere. And your skills are all very similar. You need to have people of different skill sets come into play and so forth. So then right after that, a couple of my classmates, again from Kellogg, approached me because I had started to build a reputation as someone who was, oh my gosh, Shadi's building a business while she's doing this program. So a couple of the other classmates came to me and said, hey, we're building a marketplace. We just heard you try to build another marketplace, and I think we can take it somewhere. It's in the all natural, eco-friendly personal care product realm. Please join us. And I joined as a strategic planner first, and very quickly became one of the co-founders, and that business took off very quickly. And the business was based in Jersey, and I would have had to move to Jersey full time. And at that time, I wasn't ready to do that. So I took an exit and decided I'm going to start another business. Like I'm on a roll. I'm going to keep going until I make one of these businesses successful. And at the same time, one of my classmates who was on the same study team as I was, approached me and pitched me PredictivEye. He had been building these AI models that predict customer behavior with 90% accuracy, with nothing like it in the market, and said, I need you to help me take this to the market. I am the engineer, the data scientist. I can't speak very well to people. I don't know anything about marketing and sales. This is what I want you to help me with. And our skill sets were very complementary. So I came on board, and a year and a half later, we are running PredictivEye together, and going through the ups and downs of the pandemic, have had to pivot a number of times, but this is where we are right now. So that's why I say AI found me. I didn't go after it.
Yeah, no, it's well, thanks first of all for sharing the story. It was great hearing the different, points where you solved problems and started businesses, and to hear the fatherly advice as well of, you know, getting that advice from your dad, it's not that tough. Look what we did, figure it out. If we can do this, you could do it. Like, all good stuff. So with the predictive AI, you're a year and a half in. You mentioned something earlier that really stuck out to me, and it's like, we at Regiment feel this way, that great companies are built by great people, and great people build great cultures build great teams build great companies, in whatever order you want to put that in. With your predictive AI team right now, how many people do you have?
So PredictivEye, there's myself, my co-founder. We have an angel investor who actually was someone in our program as well, in our MBA program, who saw us building the business and wrote us our first check when we didn't even have anything. He believed in us. He's also part of the team. We have a group of advisors, and we have a team of data scientists, architects, computer scientists, and so forth. That is about 10 to 11 people that we currently have, and they're paid employees, but they're
Very
based
cool.
internationally. Yes. And we are now in the process of going for our next round of raising fund so that we can build our team in North America.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, be sure to send your deck over. We know some VCs here in Chicago that are focused on just AI, so I'd be happy to socialize any executive summary with them. Not the purpose of the call, but happy to help if we can. And when we were talking in the green room before, you had mentioned, you guys are having some success with your clients. Maybe you can give us a little more insight into the predictive AI, service or product that service that you guys are providing, and the success that you're having right now.
Yes. So before the pandemic, because of our predictive capability, we were in discussion and putting contracts together with insurance, healthcare, telecom, retail, and it was exciting. And we were, on a roll. And when the pandemic hit, all those contracts took a pause. So we had to figure out, where do we go now? What industry needs us most? And that's when we came up with the e-commerce world. So a lot of the retailers are now forced for the first time to go online. And that is a space that we knew with our technology, we could really help them. So what we do at PredictivEye, we enable organizations and e-commerce organizations to personalize their customer experience by running millions of simultaneous experiments in real time to enhance that customer experience. So our technology essentially replaces the conventional approach to optimization, which could be A/B testing or survey-based testing that's currently being done. Unfortunately, these techniques don't provide any agility to adapt to change, and they take anywhere between 3 to 4 months to produce any results. We wanted to have a technology that was going to give you the results that you needed right away without you having to wait. And we also, based on the research that we were conducting at that time, noticed that conversion rates were quite low, at most like 2%, but majority of e-commerce companies that are out there, especially mid-size, their conversion rate was 1%, if not even less than that. And we also realize that within the e-commerce world, there's just a massive amount of focus on bringing customers onto the current e-commerce site, but really there is no focus or no effort put into converting those people into actual paid customers. That's why there's a huge issue with shopping cart abandonment, and companies spending so much money on Google campaigns, Facebook ads, and Instagram ads, and so forth. So the questions that we decided to tackle that no one else was in the market is, well, why do people add items to shopping cart, but they don't make a purchase? And for the visitors that come onto a particular website, where do they leave in that customer journey, and why do they leave? And these are the questions that our technology is effectively able to tackle and answer. And I was mentioning to you, now the issue that we're having is with the current clientele that we're working, and we're still in the POC stage, so they're not full paid clients that we're working. What we're challenged with at the moment is they cannot keep up with the orders that are coming through their website. So we're increasing their conversion rate, but they can't fill the orders, so they have to stop running the AI models. So as you and I were mentioning, Michael, earlier, now we're putting into place partners that are going to be able to help these companies with their supply chain issue and their inventory issue to make sure they're ready. That's one issue. The other issue we're having is a lot of these e-commerce companies, mid-size are the ones that we target, don't even have the right platform. They're still using old school, archaic e-commerce platform that someone just put together because they were, we're in the middle of pandemic and we need to have something online. There are clients that we're talking to that are using Yahoo Shopping, which is a platform I didn't even know existed. It's a platform over 11 years old. So we now realize we have to fix all of those issues before we can even talk about running those AI models. So we've had to take step back, find the right partners, put them in place to help our clientele, to get them to where they need to be even able to use such technology like what we are offering in the market. The other challenge is within the e-commerce world, oftentimes when it comes to any sort of a predictive technology, a lot of e-commerce people that are more innovative are used to giving access to their CRM data or any historical data that they may have. So many are concerned and worried about privacy issues. Here we come into the play and we're like, guess what? We don't touch your CRM data. We don't look at your historical data. We run our analytics on the anonymous customer. That's how our technology works. And we can also increase your conversion rate without allowing that visitor to leave your website. The whole point is keep them there as long as possible, offer them something to help increase that conversion rate. And they can't even wrap their head around that. What do you mean? What's the catch? How is that going to happen? So there's been a lot of going back and educating the end user in terms of you don't have to give up all of your data for us to be able to run the analytics.
Yeah, very fascinating. And to make, the pivot that quick into the e-commerce, realizing, the pandemic was going to affect the business kind of leads to my curiosity of my next question. And if you've thought about it, but, people keep talking about, I can't wait till we go back to normal, or other people saying we're reinventing a new normal. The clients that you're working with, they can't keep up. Just curious if you have an opinion. If you were that business, do you see yourself going back to normal, or wouldn't you increase the efforts to make your business using PredictivEye more efficient, more effective, so that we're not going back to a normal? It's like the new normal that you're helping create with PredictivEye is redefining the future of e-commerce. Is that too bold a statement to say you're actually redefining it and it's not going to go back, because people are they're going to say, remember when we used to use the Yahoo shopping cart and we'd have to have a salesperson making outbound cold calls? Well, now we don't need that. Like, do you see anybody going back to the way they used to do it?
I think the new normal is going to look completely different. I don't think that brick and mortar stores are completely dead and gone, because there's still a lot of people that prefer that. And the best, I feel like the best predictor of the future is to look at what Amazon is doing. So I always compare, and this is what I often use when I'm talking to clients. I say, you continue on the path you are without our technology or any other technology, and Amazon will eventually kill you off. And that's what they're doing. And then you look on the other side and you see even Amazon is now starting to open Amazon stores. So that goes to tell you that brick and mortar is not dead. It's not going anywhere, but there's going to be giving your customers the importance of giving them the option, the flexibility. Either I can go into your store, I can order online, go into the store, pick up, or I can just go into your store and buy what I want, or I can order what I want online, which I think people more and more going into this new normal, like having that accessibility and that flexibility to be able to purchase what they want, get it right away, and then return it if they're not happy with it either, whether it's face-to-face or online. That's how I see the world changing. I don't see it be one or the other. And again, I think if you pay attention to what Amazon is doing, that's a really good predictor of where the e-commerce world is actually going.
Yeah, that's some really good insight. I feel the same way, but the Amazon comparison, that really wakes you up, and it's kind of the slap to the face if you're that retailer, like, hey, this isn't going back. Look what Amazon's doing. How has that affected you to this date? How do you think it's going to continue to affect you? That's some good insight. Everybody's welcome to turn their microphones on, cameras, if they can. Mike, if you want to join us on camera as well. If you guys have questions, feel free to jump in. I'll keep asking questions until somebody does jump in. I was curious, like with the school, you chose a school that's like a mile from my house. I didn't
Yes.
even know they had that executive MBA program that
Yeah.
had an international connectivity. That sounds awesome. What was the biggest highlight of the American education system for you?
So first of all, it's ranked as one of the top programs in the world. So it's not even in the US, it's a global program. It is an incredible program, and I feel very fortunate to have gone to it. For me, what's really different about that American learning environment that we don't have in Canada is, I don't know how much you know about the Canadian educational system, especially in the university level. It's still funded by the government, so it is subsidized heavily. Having said that, because of that, whereas in the US, it's still more of a business, right? So the Kellogg's of the world are still a business. So they do a really, really good job marketing and building that brand. And that in itself, the students become the spokesperson for the school. So it is to their advantage to go out of their way to make sure that you have this incredible experience, A, and B, that you are the one that is, promoting the school. So they go out of their way to make sure that networking is done effectively, that people within the program are supporting one another. I look at people that graduated from my program, the Executive MBA program, their family. The reason why I am where I am with my business is because of that family. When I started with PredictivEye, I had no marketing budget. I had no way of getting in contact with advisors to give me free advice or help me put me in front of an investor just to talk to them to see what I needed to do to get myself to be ready for when we go for our next round of raising fund. It was the people in the program that I could reach out to, and I can reach out to anyone that graduated from the school anytime. One message on LinkedIn, they will always, 99% of the time, unless they've never been on LinkedIn, will respond back. It's that family unity that we don't have in Canada. So my classmates in Canada, we barely talk. No one even interacts. And I try to run a number of networking events here. I get like 2-3 people that show up. It's not like that in the US. It's not like that. Like when I come to Chicago and I reach out to some of those Kellogg people, I will have many of them that will respond back and want to meet up for whether it's lunch or dinner or coffee or drinks or whatever it may be. That's what's different about it. And that's what I love about it, and feel fortunate that I had the opportunity to be part of that ecosystem and that culture.
That's awesome. And we're super excited here at Regiment, not to like commercialize the comments here, but we just recently partnered with CAP, the
Yes.
Kellogg Alumni Network,
Yes.
and we are the like broker dealer, bringing the regulatory and professional investment coverage to their deal flow room. So we're
Yes.
super excited about joining that family. Bill
That's
Duffy
amazing.
is a Colossian, a fellow Colossian. So
Yes.
that's how we found out about it. And I've noticed that camaraderie amongst the Kellogg alums, that
Yes.
they're even willing to talk to me. And I'm a Badger from Wisconsin. They're even willing to talk to me just because of our association with Regiment.
Yeah.
So I noticed that collegial camaraderie with the Colossians. It's pretty cool to be part of.
So, Michael, I want to add one other thing that goes beyond like business. I had a number of years. So when I graduated from the program, I think I was going back to Chicago for our 1 year reunion. And I'll never forget, I was on a plane. I was wearing my Kellogg sweatshirt, so Northwestern Kellogg sweatshirt. I was just, going from Toronto to Chicago. It's like about an hour and a half flight. So it's not a long flight at all. And then I get into the plane, the flight attendant comes to me and she said, "Can I talk to you?" And I was like, "Oh my God, am I in trouble?" I was like, "What did I do?" So I was trying to think, did I leave my bag somewhere? Did I do something? I'm like, "Yes, what's wrong?" She's like, "The pilot wants to speak to you." And I was like, "Holy shit, they're going to kick me out of the flight." Like what? So I'm like thinking all these thoughts. And then the pilot, he opens up, what is it called? That
Cockpit? The
Yes, the
cockpit.
cockpit where the pilot is. He opened it up. He's like, "Hi, when did you graduate from Kellogg?" So I said, "Oh, in 2018." Why? He goes, "I went to Kellogg. Guess what? I have one seat in available in first class. Do you want it?" I was like,
Nice.
"Okay." He's like, "Listen, we're family." I'm like, "Yes, we are. We are family." So I got an upgrade because of my sweater. I wear that sweater anytime I'm traveling in the US. You have no idea the opportunities and the doors that could potentially be open. But that was a really great experience that I had. And just because I was wearing my Northwestern sweater. So
That's really, yeah. I mean, that's like the story that epitomizes the camaraderie there. That's really awesome. Did you at your time at Northwestern? I know you said it was an international program, so you
yeah.
traveled around the world with it. But when you were here, did you get to take in any of the campus? What was your favorite part about just being up here in Evanston when you got some
Yeah.
time to be here?
So good question. Unfortunately, I didn't get to roam around Chicago as much as I wanted to, so downtown area. But the main campus where we were, it's a beautiful campus. I love being by the water. It was just absolutely breathtaking. And I used to go. We had a group of us that every morning at 6 a.m. we used to get bikes, and there were, bikes were available for us to take whenever we needed to, and we would ride our bikes around the campus or go for walks or run and then come back. I know that campus really well, but it's just such a beautiful, picturesque place that they've built. So it was just nice to be there. And sometimes we would go to a local park right in Evanston and have drinks and things like that with local people. But everybody knows you. If you're in any of those pubs, you are a Kellogg student for sure, or Northwestern student from one of the other programs. So the respect is all there. It's almost like you have your own little country and your own little community of people, and you all speak the same language.
Very cool. Yeah. Looked like Kenny and David had to hop early. This has been great. It's been great hearing your stories. I really like the stick to. I mean, I've always said that you have to kind of have the Viking mentality to be an entrepreneur. I'm gonna now call it the Shadi mentality. Like when Vikings were like berserking an island, they would burn their boat and say, "We're either all gonna die taking this island, or we're gonna be successful." And I think you're the epitome of that attitude, and I
Oh,
commend
thank
you for
you.
it.
Thank
Yes,
you.
absolutely. And if nobody else has any questions, we'll give people 20 minutes of their day back. Shadi, it was great
Thank
having you.
you.
Really interesting, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. And please do send a summary.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see that deck, and thank you for your time. That's an
Thank
inspiring story.
you.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, thank
Had
you
a
so
smile on
much.
my face the whole way through.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It was great connecting with you guys and looking forward to joining your future rooms again.
Awesome. Thanks,
Awesome.
Shadi.
Thank you,
Have a great
Shadi.
day. Yep.
You
Thanks,
too.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.